So my new office is in need of a desk. Let's get building. So here's the design I'm going for. I found it on walmart.com. It gives a lot of dimensions, but you kind of have to decipher them and figure them out. And I will end up changing some of them along the way, I'm sure. All right, the first step of this whole project is to get my plywood broken down and my poplar broken down. I'm using the plywood for the base, kind of the carcasses, and I'm going to use poplar for the tabletops. All right, I wanted to show you this real quick. I've got the side panels here. I'm going to be drilling my pocket holes in the bottom and the top, but I've got this set up. I think drilling, I'm going to put 4 pocket holes in the top and the bottom on each side. Alright, I started breaking down the plywood for the drawers. There's going to be a total of 3 drawers, 2 that are the same size and then 1 deeper one on the bottom. And this is the plywood for the 2 smaller ones. So one thing that I've usually done is I'll put a dado in the bottom and I would slide the drawer bottom in, so it was I don't use fasteners, it's just kind of a friction fit, and then you'd put the front on there and you'd have a drawer bottom. But this time I chose I'm just going to staple or finish nails that luan to the bottom. I'll probably put a little bead of glue around the edge and then just nail it in. Entirely a preference thing. Okay, to this point, I started installing these drawer slides. These are full extension drawer slides. I went to install the first drawer. So the drawer will sit in here like this. The space between the drawer slides and the drawer is too much. I've got about probably a 1/4 inch too much. So what'll happen if I attach them to the drawers, they'll pinch in and the drawer won't slide freely. So what I'm going to do, rather than building this carcass all over again, I'm going to take some of this 1/4 inch material and put it on either one side. I'm going to try one side, and that way the drawer slides will mount and it'll take up that gap. I just got done making these drawer fronts. I got a spacer here. So this spacer is the same width as my feet. So I know I can set it on top of it like this. And I just got to make sure I line up the outsides. The positioning isn't exactly the way I wanted. I should have thought a little farther ahead. I should have moved these two smaller drawers up, and then I would have had a larger overhang right here. To attach these drawer fronts, I'm going to use glue and brads just to get it in place. And then I'll run some screws from the inside also to reinforce it. Okay, so these two towers here, the one on the right and the one on the left, have to be the same height in order for the desktop to be the same height. Basically, everything will be exactly the same on this other one. So the heights are the same. So I'm going to use the same feet. Obviously, we're using the same plywood, 3/4 inch. So if I cut the height of the vertical panel pieces at 25.5, everything should be the same height. Because then we'll have the other piece that comes and sets on the top, which I'll show you later, and then the desktop will sit on top. So there's going to be a middle shelf that goes in between these, and I intentionally waited to cut that one to final length just so I could take the measurement. Anytime I can take the real measurement rather than assume it's going to be a little bit, I always get a better fit. All right, I'm going to use a quick, easy trick. So this shelf right here, it's big, is going to go in between here. The bottom of the shelf is going to sit at 15 inches. So instead of marking these and trying to hold it up there and all that, I'm going to create these spacers. I'm going to cut them down to 15 inches, and then I'm going to set them in place, and then all we have to do is set this shelf on top of it while we screw them in. Alright, so both of the pieces are assembled. Now, the only thing left to do is the finishing process. That's going to involve sanding, filling some voids with wood putty, but also using this walnut veneer, glue-on edge banding. Now, this is what I have on hand, and I'm going to stain it walnut anyways. So I'm not sure what this is going to look like. It's probably going to look darker. The edges will look darker than the plywood, will be my guess. But I think it could be a cool accent. So we'll see how this turns out. Okay, so this is the back, and I just tested a small area. I went with this, let's call it a white wood plywood, and I didn't know how it was gonna stain, but it was like 20 bucks cheaper than the other stuff I was gonna use. So this is what I decided on. This is the back side, what does not have any edge banding. And so these edges, I knew they were going to look that way. That's fine. What I'm really concerned about is how the stain looks on this white wood plywood. Really does not look that good. This stuff is better to be painted. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to paint the base. All right, so the top is ready for stain, and this is what I'm going to use. So different than what I've done in the past. Usually I'm using an oil-based stain. This time I'm using a water-based stain. So I'm going to pre-stain this poplar. It's a good idea to pre-stain any woods, any soft woods that you're staining. So this will help with just a nice even coat of color, and will reduce blotchiness and stuff like that. So I'll do this first, and then I'm going to use this navy semi-transparent wood stain, again water-based. If you are going to use a pre-stain, make sure there are specific pre-stains for water-based and specific pre-stains for oil-based stains. The other side I did halves, but obviously I don't think that's what the middle spot was for though. That was random. I don't know if I didn't get good coverage on the pre-stain and I like missed a square. But this stuff, I've already stirred it. I mean, look at the consistency.
It looks like paint.
Yeah. So do you think I should?
You need me on one side?
Do you think I should work in halves? You should just do one wipe the whole way down?
Yeah.
With a rag?
Yeah. What were you using?
Rag.
Oh, yeah. For easier access, do you want to move it to the edge? So you're just walking the edge as opposed to having to walk all the way around the table?
Yeah, that works.
It all saved you some time.
I think it went okay the first time, on the first side.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know what happened in that middle spot.
My guess is there's just something on it or a lack of something on it.
Really weird. But that's why you have two sides. All right, everything is prepped, sanded, ready to get the final coat of finish. For that, I'm going to be using polyacrylic, water-based finish. I've got to take everything upstairs. I'm going to spray in my garage. As you can imagine, this workspace has been a dream so far, and this desk is all from a picture from Walmart. I literally Googled a desk that I would like and found that picture and built a desk. If it gave you any inspiration to build anything like this yourself, I'd love to hear about it down in the comments and share what you would do differently. I've got a lot of other build projects that I think you'll enjoy, and I specifically picked this one out for you, so make sure you go watch that one. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time I'm building something.